And good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to our new session of the Forge App Jam. So, very happy to be here. I hope you all had a good week so far. It was good for me. Pretty busy getting ready for a team, which is coming up in 10 days, something like that. So so if you are attending team in Anaheim, I'll be there, and make sure you stop by and have a chat with me. And would love to connect in person as well at team. And if you're not coming, we'll have another session after team. And we'll talk more about that later. So thank you for saying hi, everyone. Ciao, Fabio. Yeah, good night. It's pretty late, I think, in Italy, back in Bologna. But thank you for joining. And thank you, everyone, for being here. So, we have a couple of things to do today, so let's get into those. So let me start sharing my screen. So here we are. This is the app that we built in our previous episode. This is how far we got it, and as a reminder, this is a way to see which workflows have a screen attached in their transition. So it's a view that can be helpful for admins, maybe for users as well. I'm not sure, you tell me. But this is how far we made it last time. And last time we added links. So if I click on one of these, let's pick a random one. If I click on one of these, this is actually taking me directly to our configuration item, where here we have our screen attached. So our transition in this case is selected, and we can go directly to our screen. So that's what we did last time. We added the links. Hi, a couple of more people are saying hi. Hello, everyone. What are we going to do today? We are going to add filters and export to CSV, so an export feature to our app. So it's going to look like pretty much like this once we are done. So we will be adding filters, front-end filters, and an export to CSV feature. And that's because this list can get a bit long, so you might want to add some filtering functionalities. And apparently, exporting to CSV is something that everyone is always looking for. So I'm building it with you today. And as I think we said probably a couple of times, this is just an example of what you could be building, but anything that is accessible with the REST APIs, you can use the same structure, the same framework that we built here and apply it to that. So to get exactly the view that you are looking for in Jira or Confluence, because the same would work exactly the same way in Confluence. So let's get started, and let me bring up my Visual Studio. Also, this is probably kind of like I'm giving it away already, but I'm planning to use Rovo Dev today, but not yet. First, we'll just do some coding, without using any AI assistants, but I'm planning then to show you how to use Rovo Dev in VS Code as well. And this is actually something I was going to ask you. I try to balance AI assistants and coding. If you have a preference, let me know. Like, you might be thinking like, no, we should be typing everything versus, yeah, AI assistants are fine. Like they actually show us like what can be done and maybe like a bit faster in certain contexts. So let me know what you think. Before I start typing, maybe I'll just do this. So trying to be very, inclusive with everyone and making sure that I give everyone who's joining credit. So hi, Liz from Los Angeles. And hi, I'm not sure about your name, but I'll just read it as the handle. NRHM. Or maybe next time I should try saying that in German. I'll think about that. Cool. Also, let me switch. Yep. So we are in our VS Code. So what we want to start with is by adding the filters. So let's open our index.js file and let me make it a tiny bit bigger. So hopefully this is good enough. So this is where we have our UI components, just the text and the dynamic table, which is what's available right now. And let me get started by adding the elements that we need. So let's start by adding a stack. So think about the stack as an element that allows you to horizontally align and set up elements. So it's a nice UI component to give you the ability to organize the layout of your page. So, and this is going to do it. So by doing this, we'll have one element, another element, another element, horizontally organized. So, and actually, I want the dynamic table to be outside of the stack. So, and this will hopefully make sense once we see how this looks like. So let's, so we have the stack, and in our stack, we are, let me maybe add a comment so it's clearer. So we are going to add the filter inputs and the export button rendered side by side. So, side there. Why am I writing this? Because now I'm adding another component, which is the inline, and there are some properties that we can add here to control the space as well as the alignment. So that's not that one. So the property that we want to use is align block, and I like to have the alignment here on the left. So I'll use the start value here, and let me close the inline. Yeah, so in our stack, we'll have an inline element and our text that we already have right now in the app. And inside the inline, we will be adding all the filters and the export to CSV as well. And here I'm adding another element, which is our box one. Yeah, so the box is going to help us with the layout. And here we will be adding a label for our text field. So let me start by defining the properties of the label. So we need to define that it's a label, yeah, for our workflow filter that we didn't add yet. So let me just escape this. Yes. So for Workflow filter, yes, fine. So filter by workflow name. Yes, this looks good. Something important that I've seen a couple of times, the actual Forge UI component is called text field with the F lowercase. I think at least once I ran into an issue because I just accepted this, what Copilot was giving me, and then I was out of luck because this UI element doesn't exist in Forge. So text field is actually with the F lowercase. Yeah, so the ID needs to match our label, which it does here. And then let's add some other properties. So let's have placeholder text. Yeah, enter workflow name. Sounds good. And yeah, so as a value, we want to define a name for our filtered workflows, but let's call them like filter workflow. Yeah. And when this changes, we want to set the filter workflow, and we are going to define what this is in a moment with passing the variable, the parameter target value. So the value that is being typed by our user. So this one looks good. So yeah, let's close this. And I don't know what this is, but let's remove it. Okay. So before we go into this, let me just share. So I'm sharing a link here with you, and let me bring it up. Let me bring it up in my browser as well. So here, so this is the text field UI element, Forge UI element that we were talking about. So let me show you. So it's here. Plenty of options as well. So we are only using a few in our example today. So we've only been using the onChange and the placeholder. So yes, that's good. Let me have a quick look at the questions in the meantime, or the comments. Yeah, looks like the DynamicTable component has some fans. Yes, I agree. I use it a lot as well. I think, yeah. Yes, that's correct. So text field is one single line, and then text area is multiple lines. And to the other point that we have, so this comment is like a text field is different in Jira and Confluence. I actually don't think it is. Like all the UI kit elements, components that we have in Forge are the same for Jira and Confluence. So they are the same wherever you're using Forge. So including, Bitbucket. So no, I think it's just a text field, lowercase, every single time. But let me know if you find something different. So from what I can see here in the doc, it's one text field, F lowercase. So let me go back to our code here and make it bit bigger. Okay, so we've added the UI elements. So, and now that we've done it, oh, sorry, we also need to make sure that we are actually importing them at the top. So, what did we add? We added the inline element. Thank you, auto-completion. I like you. Inline, label, and text field. Yes, that's what we added. The next thing we need to do is we need to add a state. So we need to add a state to store the filter value for workflow name. I think this is good. Yeah, so this is the same function that was defined on the on change event as part of our text field. Let's also now define. So we want to define our function, which is going to actually filter the values based on the variable, based on the input of our user. So at the moment, we are showing and displaying all the combination of workflows and screens, but we want to filter that down so that we only give the filtered view to the users. So what am I going to say here? So define, this is good, a filtered, yeah, I think this is good enough. I think usually when I do this, like I also do like these comparisons in a case-insensitive way. So comparison is case insensitive. So the comparison is case insensitive and checks if the workflow name includes the filtered text. So sounds good. So let's start. Let's define like our filtered data, and I think I prefer to call it like filter data like this. So we will be using the screen data, which is the other variable here, the other state where we are actually storing all our data, all the data that is then displayed in the UI. And to that, we want to apply a filter. So, and our filter though, let's do it like this. So we want to have a variable which is workflow match, which is going to tell us if our workflow includes the filter workflow. Yeah, and we are then returning this. So this looks good. So this is how we are applying our filters with this function. Then when we are defining, look at this. So pretty smart here. So maybe let me make it like a tiny bit bigger. So Copilot is already suggesting that because now we want to show a filtered version of our data, we need to change this value, which is the section of the code where we are building the rows. So we are retrieving the data and then we are displaying some of we are displaying the rows. So now instead of displaying all the rows, and all the rows are defined in our screen data variable, now we want to only show the filtered rows, which we are saving in our filter data variable. So let's accept this. That's good. And then the other thing that I want to do is, so we have this text here in the UI, which is telling us how many workflow screens we have associated with the screens. But because now we are applying a filter, let's also say, like, let's add something here, which is going to tell us how many we are actually displaying. So out of the total, how many are we displaying? And the way to do that is, let's add like another strong here. So we use the same syntax. This is like so smart. Yeah, so we want here to define, to have like the filter data and its length. And then we could keep rows. No, we can't keep rows because now rows is the filter data as well. So previously it didn't make sense, if it didn't make a difference if we were using rows or a screen data. So we were just using rows, like one of the two would have been the same. But now rows, we just assigned it. We just assigned to rows the value of filtered data. So now we want to show the number of the filtered data, and then the number of the entire rows that we are displaying. So let's accept this. And I think this is it. So, so this is it, meaning that what we did, we added a variable to save our filter details. We created this function to filter the data, and then we also changed the data that we are displaying here. So the data that we are displaying are coming from the filter data, not from the whole set of data. And then we are showing here how many rows we are retrieving out of all of the ones that are being returned. So let me start the tunnel here. And while I start the tunnel, it might be like a good time so to share here with you, this one, to share here with you the repository that we are, the repository where we are saving all our apps. So the app that we are building today is going to be in the, it's going to be in the episode 7, Workflow Transitions Screens, Part 3 folder. And let me just open the repo. So in this repo, you can find all the previous episodes. I actually already uploaded the folder for today, so the episode 7, Workflow Transition Screen, but just the init version. So this is just the copy of where we left off last time. I'm going to push the changes as we build them today in 1 hour or so. So that's good. So I started the tunnel. So if I go on our app here and refresh, unless I forgot anything, which sometimes happens. Here we have our workflow. So you can see the filtering, so you can see the sorting. So sorry, I meant the structure of our UI. So we have these two items. So we have our workflow name filter, so the text field and the label on their line, and then that's stacked with the text. So right now the text is showing the same value for both because we didn't apply any filter. So let's start typing some text here, maybe default. Yeah, and now we can see how our list is being filtered, and how the numbers here are also being updated. So cool, that looks like it's working. Maybe I'll just try another one now that I zoomed in a bit more. Oop, let me do, maybe let's do like incident. So yeah, 39. So yeah, cool filtering happening here. Okay, sounds good. So let me keep going here. And also, before I keep going, like Liz, thank you. This is a good reminder. So UI Kit has been in development pretty actively in the past couple of years. So it at some point we were using Row as a UI Kit component. While now, find Row. So while yes, so that's in the DynamicTable. So if I go in the DynamicTable, the property here is rows lowercase, while it used to be uppercase. So if you are getting some other tutorials or some repositories around, it might be that this is that we are still using the previous value. So make sure you check this and check out the documentation and refer to that. And I think the browser console logs should should also help you, should tell you if you are using something like if one of the props that is being used is not available. So maybe let's actually give it a quick try. So that was in our DynamicTable here. So if I change this to rows uppercase, so yeah, so I've changed this to rows uppercase. So let me now go back to our app. So I think it did it redeploy? Did the tunnel run? I'm not sure. Yep. So I think it did, and I think it did because now this screen is empty. So if I go and open the developer tools, the console one, and I refresh this. Oh, no, there is no error. I was expecting an error. Okay, so yeah, pretty tricky to troubleshoot if that happens. So that's a good tip. So keep an eye on that. This needs to be rows lowercase. So that's what you want. So now this reloaded, and now we should be seeing the values here. I know for sure. Now, can I really be sure that if you don't have one of the UI components imported here, and then as soon as our tunnel is done, in this case, yes, you'll get an error here. So this is why I was this is why I was thinking I would be getting an error also if I was using a wrong property. But no, doesn't look like it's doing it. Yeah, so I'm surprised too. So let me. Cool. So if you ever get into a situation where the UI is loading like a blank screen, check out the console because you might get some good hints like in this one. So here it's telling us that text field is not defined. So let's go back here and edit back. So if so now it should be reloading and showing us the data. Yes. Cool. So something that I kind of gave away at the very beginning of this was that I would like today to use Rovo Dev in our IDE. So in VS Code, we will be showing Rovo Dev. So this is the URL. Let me share it with you as well. So here, yes, it's coming. So these are the instructions. I already set it up in my VS Code. So, and this is how it looks. So how am I going to use it today? I have some ideas of how I want to use it today. So, and we have some initial prompts here, but that's not what I'm going to do. I have some clearer ideas. So what are my ideas? So we added the filtering for the workflow name by adding the code to it. Let's have Rovo Dev add the other filters for the other two items that we have on our page. So on our page, we have transition names and screen names. So let's start with transition name. So now that you've now that let's say we added the filter to the workflow name, maybe I'll make it like just a tiny bit bigger, to the workflow name. Can you add the filter to the transition name too? So let's see, and let's go back to the top so we can see what this is doing. Okay, so checking a couple of files. So checking our index.jsx. It's asking for the permissions. Lately, when I've been doing demos, instead of allowing it right away, instead of allowing it here in the UI, I've been using this YOLO mode, so which just does everything that is needed right away. So maybe like I'll just allow the first one, And once I've allowed it, for the first one, we can see it's continuing to build, but then it's asking us to allow this again. So let me now just switch to YOLO mode, so we will not get that. Sounds good. Okay. So let's see what it did. Yep. Let me just, yeah. So this is a summary of what's been added. State, yes, that's what we did too. And then it updated our filter data, which is now checking for both the workflow name and transition name, requiring both to match. And it added a new filter input, which is a text field, and it's placed right alongside the existing workflow filter in our inline container. So they are all going on the same line. So if I want to check the changes, I can go here. So, and I want to point this out because it took me like a bit of time to actually realize what this one was for. So if you click here, it's going to show you, to highlight the changes. Oh, maybe let me close this. Okay, so these green items, these green lines here, it's not showing them as I'm used to. Okay, so I'm not sure. Usually I see them in line directly. So I'm not sure what's happening here. But I'll just point them out for you. So we have our state here, we have our transition match, and now the return is actually a combination of the two, and the transition match is matching the transition name. Then the other part that has been added is this other label and the text field. So let's go back to our page here, and it already reloaded. So we already have our filter by transition here as well. So if I type something in here, it's filtering our table. So here we are. Amazing. So thank you, Rovo Dev, for doing that. Let's accept this. So we are happy with this. Keep. And let's add the last filter, which is for the screen name. So, like really all I need to say is and screen name too. I don't need to do much more than this because from the context, it's going to get it. And actually, it was already suggesting it at the previous step. So it was saying like, okay, so should we add another filter like screen name? Yes, that's a good idea. Let's do it. So this is now thinking. Cool. So the response we get here is a bit shorter. So it's not giving us the full details as it did earlier, but it should have done it. So we have now, so filter transition and filter screen. So we now have 3 items here. So that's pretty good. So we have the three states. Our filter data function has been updated as well. So we are now checking for all of these. And we have new box here, which is now allowing us to filter for a screen name. So it looks like it's all done. And we could also see that it already redeployed. So let's check the result. Cool. Yeah. So we have our third filter here. So let's maybe try a combination of the two. So what can I use? Maybe I'll do like resolve. So combination of the three. So resolve, like brought it down to 202, and then maybe we can go here with decline, and maybe what else can we do here? Maybe here we can search for FAC. So so yeah, the three filters seem to be working. So yay! So that was the first thing that we wanted to do today, and it looks like it's done. Yeah, I think we were like pretty fast thanks to Rovo Dev. Not sure if we would have been like done by now if I had to type everything. But we still did the first part together. So I took you through the steps that are required in the very first beginning of this session. Okay, so what about CSV export? I was thinking, let's try and see if we can get Rovo Dev to do that. So let's ask Rovo Dev to do it. So I want to be able to export the filtered results in a CSV file. And we want to only export the filtered ones. So like, because I mean, if we want to export the whole set, then we just don't apply any filters, but I thought it might make sense to just export what's been filtered. So, and let's say so how do we want to do it? We want to have a button in the UI to do that. So when the user clicks on let's call it a download button in the UI, the download starts. Let me accept the changes there as well. Not that they weren't particularly visible today, but let's see if now we can get those to be displayed to us. And what I also wanted to share, is that I'm actually using, and this is a very important detail, the Forge MCP server in Rovo Dev. So our Rovo Dev here has some specific, guided, detailed information and knowledge about Forge. It's not just using the information that is out there about Forge, but to do that, you need to specify, you need to tell Forge, you need to tell Rovo Dev to use the Forge MCP server. So let's let's check this. So this is our MCP server, Forge MCP server definition, and I was checking it just by using the /MCP command in Rovo Dev. So I probably share this like almost every time, but I still think it's why not? Let me share it like once once more. So this is our Forge MCP server. So the syntax that you see here, you can actually find it at that link. If you want to add your MCP server, that's one way is to enter this command here in Rovo Dev, or you can just create a file in your user directory under Rovo Dev, which is where all the Rovo Dev settings are defined. And in there, you'll need to create an mcp.json file with this content. Cool. That hopefully covers it. So very important details. This is not just Rovo Dev, it's Rovo Dev with the Forge MCP server. So let's now go back to our UI. Before we go to the UI, I want to show, let's double check what's been done here. So we have this handle export. Yeah, so I'll zoom in a second. Okay, so we added, or Rovo Dev added this part. So this is our export button with our handle export function. So if I search for this, that's where it is. So it's defining the headers, it's getting the filter data, and it's exporting it. So I don't really think this is going to work, because this is like one of the couple of ways how you can get a CSV export, but I don't think this is the right one. But let's give it a try. This is like Rovo Dev here is trying to use some like JavaScript options that are available for this, but this one might not be working. Let's see. Let's give it a try. So we have our download CSV. Thank you. Also with a different style. So this is a different style applied to the button, which makes it a bit more visible. Let's just apply a filter and download our CSV. Yes, this is not working. I don't remember. Yes. So we would be seeing this error here, which is just telling us that it is not working. So let's try to take this back to Rovo Dev. Make it a bit bigger. Let's try to take this to Rovo Dev and ask for a fix. So let's go back here. So let's see what comes here. And I actually think this might be where like everything gets a bit like blurry and fuzzy. And let's see if we actually get to the right result, which might be the case or might not be the case. So yes, this is also not going in the right direction. So let me give it quick helper. Let me try to point this in the right direction, because once you really have these capabilities, like you can apply it to like so many things. You know, I don't want you to have to give up on this. Like it's fine. So it's doable. you just need to have know one thing, and then once you know that thing, you can actually make it happen. So let's say use this syntax. So this is the syntax that you want to create, to be able to create your export, your CSV file. So let's see if with this prompt it's going to do it. Yes, good. So yes, we don't want to use the router. We don't want to use the Forge bridge. This is what we want to use. So let's double check the code quickly. Yeah. So it looks like it replaced it with what I wanted. So let's try now. Okay, so that's there from earlier. So build, let's see. Okay, so I saw that little animation, not sure if you saw it, but it created this file here. So let me find it in my downloads and let me open it with this. Yes. Yes, here it is. Oh. Yes, and this downloaded our workflow transitions, but just the ones that were filtered, which is why we only have a file with 6 rows. The first one is the headings, the headers. So we actually have only 5 items, which matches what we have here. So yes, it worked. Not at the first attempt. We had to give it a little bit more of a help with the structure to use, but it's feasible. And once you know about this, you can use it for all your export needs. So let me bring up the code again. Yeah, so it's just this function. This is the function that is handling our export. Yes, so handle export is here, and then if we go here, so the button didn't change, and it's still defined on the on-click functionality. So on the on-click props here. So this is all the same as it was earlier. So let me bring up the function here. Cool. Thank you. Actually, I think probably I also want to point out that I actually got this from the community. So we have a developer community where we get some posts and people helping each other, and a lot of comments and messages, and let's see if I can still find it. The export CSV, Forge, Atlassian, let's see. No, let me give it this one, because this is actually, I think this is the one. Yeah, so this is actually where I found it. Yeah, it's not me. I'm not sure how long it would have taken me to get to this, but the power of the community helped with this. So that's pretty cool. So recap what we built today. Today we built So we added to our app the ability to filter, and we did that for all the fields that we have in the UI. Not the IDs, like the IDs are here because we added them the very first time. Probably it would make sense to remove them, but we never did, so they are still here. But we are not filtering for them because not sure, maybe like it's better to filter by text, but potentially you could be filtering by those as well. And then we added the functionality here to download our filtered data by clicking on this button, and that creates a CSV file for us. And that's it. So that's also it for this app. So we will be moving on to something different next time. I already have a couple of ideas, but I'll let you know as soon as I know. Also, I think the next Forge App Jam might need to be in June because May it's going to be team, and then I'm also taking some time off. So I'm sorry, I'll miss you, but I promise we will be back. It might just be a bit of a longer pause than what we are used to. And what else? What else? Yeah, so I would say keep an eye on our developers. Ace. Let me go to the. I'll do this. Atlassian developers. Yeah, this one. Keep an eye on Atlassian developers, which is where we post our events. We have we are not published yet, but there are a few more events coming up in May. And they will be posted on this link. So Atlassian developers events. There is the link. Yes, so otherwise, I hope to see you soon. I hope you enjoyed today, learned something new, and feel free to reach out at any time if you have questions or with your ideas, with what you've been, maybe like wanting to build and it hasn't been working. What in general, like what are your ideas and what you would love to build, and maybe we can do it together. And with this, thank you everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone.